Hello. I haven't done a late night stream in a hot second. I will say it has been a minute since I've done a late night stream. And the reason that I'm doing this stream today is honestly because I didn't stream earlier. I was really in the groove with getting some work done that I've been really wanting to do for a long time. And so I was like, we're gonna stay in flow. We're gonna do the work, do the work, do the work. And that's going to be the way it is. Now, something funny is happening with my Ustream in that I don't seem to be seeing the chat from YouTube pop up. And I don't know why. Sometimes there's a little delay, but the delay right now seems excessive. So, you know what? The show seems to be going though. Like the video's working. Everyone's good. Mount that like button for me, guys. And I want to thank Incognito for the super chat. I wish I could display it on the screen, but I don't know why my chat isn't working in Ustream right now. That's all right. But Incognito says, got my victory lap exposing that group. Yes, yes. So for those who don't know, and usually I don't talk about the things that happen on my community Zoom calls with my locals community. But what happened essentially in the context of Incognito's chat is Incognito got me invited to a socialist group on Facebook who swore that as long as I agreed to their rules, they would let me into the group. And I wasn't going to be disruptive or anything. I was just going to ask some questions. And I really am kind of fascinated by socialists, as you know. And so I joined and I was very nice and I was very polite and they still didn't let me in the group. I really was nice too. I was like on my best behavior. I was minding my P's and Q's and it didn't work out. But that's all right. We live to fight another day. All right, guys. While I'm kind of waiting for people to kind of join, I don't know, why am I not getting any statistics for this? This is so weird. This is so weird. I'm getting no statistics on my StreamYard at all. I think I might have called it Ustream. It's not Ustream, it's StreamYard. That's so weird. But everything does seem to be working on YouTube. Let me just look at the settings real quick. I mean, it's like everything is selected. I don't know what's going on. That is so effing weird. Well, we're just going to have to roll with it. We're just going to have to do the best we can. I do have my chat up in a different screen this time, and that's just going to have to be good enough. I apologize for the people watching on Facebook. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see your chat, but maybe StreamYard will connect itself post haste and fix the problem. But it's like, this is so weird. All my settings look normal. It's just not working. Okay, well, whatevs. So there's so while I'm kind of waiting for people to jump in, so let me show you guys what I found as potentials for happy hour tomorrow. If you don't know, on Fridays we do a happy hour stream on my second channel, youtube.com/activelyunwoke, and I found a couple of really good ones, I think. So this is the one I'm leaning towards. This was actually the last one I found. So here, let me go in order. So I found a couple of options that we can watch tomorrow, and I would love your input in the chat. The first is it's a committee meeting. It's a legit just committee meeting. It's not a presentation or anything. It's a committee meeting from Brookline, Massachusetts, the School Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and Justice Subcommittee. It happened a couple weeks ago. And Brookline, Massachusetts actually showed up on Happy Hour not too long ago. They're this super bougie, like very white, liberal, very wealthy area of like Boston. And like their teachers make over like $100,000 a year. And we actually watched a diversity presentation with at least one of their teachers in it, probably a couple months ago now. And then I just happened to find this diversity meeting, like a legit committee meeting that kind of looks like it devolved into a struggle session that definitely had students. So that was a good option, and that might be an option we live to do another day if we don't do it tomorrow. I also found this, and I love for happy hours sometimes getting one of those like big like town training groups going, because they're always just such shit shows. And this is from the town of Windsor, Connecticut, Conversations on Race and Critical Race Theory, and they've got like the greatest hits. They've got Joy Reid talking to Kimberly Crenshaw. They've got like all the details about what critical race theory is, why we need to teach it. This is put on by the town of Windsor, Connecticut. And so that's an option as well. But here's the one that I'm actually really leaning towards. Check this out. This is a little bit older. It's from a year ago, but it is a panel of students talking about race relations, again, put on by another town, the city of Winston-Salem. Put students on the internet talking about race, is sponsored by the City of Winston-Salem Human Rights Commission. So I think I'm leaning towards this student panel one. If I'm honest, you guys know how I like to watch, how I like to see when government organizations put children on the internet to shill for their virtue points. And so this is the one that I'm leaning towards. But if you have any strong opinions, let me know in the chat. And I still haven't decided what the happy hour presentation is going to be tomorrow, but I think it might be that one. And let me know if you have strong opinions, because I can be convinced. If people don't want to watch it, I can be convinced otherwise. But I will announce tomorrow what the happy hour presentation is. So that's one of the many things that I've been working on today. All right, guys, mount that like button if you have not already. I know that this is a late night stream, which is not usually what I do. But I decided to do one today just because I'm feeling a little sassy. And one of the things I want to talk about today, if I can find it on my screen, it's one of those days where I have 86 windows open. 86 exactly and precisely. And at least 3 of them are Canva and several of them are Twitter. Where is my screen? Oh no. Oh no. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do it. I'm going to pull it up again. So what I want, actually, I can just do this. Oh, here we go. I can just pull it up that way. So what I'm pulling up right now, guys, is the article that I have pinned to the top of the chat, why school choice will not fix the public schools. And I just want to talk about this because this is a topic that I wrote about and kind of complained about. I've complained about it pretty extensively, but I don't know. And I did do a podcast on it for my Actively Unwoke podcast, but I don't know that I've ever actually done a stream where I talk through my belief about why I don't think that school choice is the ultimate solution. Not that type of ultimate solution, different type of, like, school choice is not going to fix the problem, essentially. And that's not to say I don't think there's value in school choice. I do think that there is value in school choice. I just don't ultimately think it's the thing that's going to save us from woke indoctrination in school. So I want to talk about this, and then I might have some other thoughts too that I just ramble on about for a little while, because that's how we do it on late night streams. And I'll talk to you guys in the chat if you want. Hopefully my chat ends up fixing itself on StreamYard, but if not, I do have it on the screen and we're going to manage and make do. Okay, so first, the school choice lately has had a lot of controversy. There are a lot of people that have been coming down very, very harshly on Corey DeAngelis for being basically the leading advocate for school choice in the country, saying it's not going to fix the problem, it's not the answer, all this stuff. And I do think there is some there. I don't agree with them why, but I also don't agree that Corey DeAngelis is not the problem in this, okay? I absolutely understand why Corey DeAngelis is pushing for school choice. I like that Corey DeAngelis is pushing for school choice. I ultimately do not believe school choice goes far enough, because I really think the only solution to what has happened to the public schools over the last 40 to 50 years, the only solution is to separate government and education entirely, 100%. We need a complete and total revolution when it comes to education. And yes, I just used a word that made me sound like a communist, but we need to completely privatize education. It needs to be completely separated from the state in any and all ways. And then if a band of communists want to take over Vermont and set up their own little commie school, I don't really care, as long as the state is not compelling anyone to go to it. That's, I think, the best that we can get to. Now, that is not to say that I don't think there is value in having the school choice conversation and in pushing school choice. I like that we are making headway in school choice. I like that the public is realizing that they don't just have to settle for the school that they were handed based on what town they chose to live in or buy a house in or could afford to buy a house in, or any of those things. And the reason that I like it in terms of a strategy is I believe that it's a stepping stone. I don't believe that it's going to fix the problem in any way, which is what we're going to talk about, but I believe that it is a really important change management stepping stone in terms of turning the general public against the public schools, because that's really what we need to do. The schools are not going to get fixed by electing a politician. The schools are not going to get fixed by passing a bill. They're not going to get fixed in that way. The schools are only going to get fixed when we turn a critical mass of the public against the public schools. This is not a legislative problem. This is a cultural problem. Politics is downstream of culture. You don't fix culture through politics. You change culture, and then the politics will follow where the culture is going. Okay. So, why do I think that school choice is a really important stepping stone? Simply because it gets the general public used to the idea of choice. Every single person that is alive today in the United States has never known a time when they weren't compelled to go to the government school based on where they live. If you had a lot of money, you could go to a private school. Or like I had a friend in high school that he was really good at basketball, and our town did not have a lot of money and we had a really shitty basketball team, and so he ended up getting an apartment in a city 20 minutes away, where so that he could go to the high school there because they were Division 1 and they had a better basketball team and there were more opportunities there for him. And so we live in a time when people just don't think about the fact that there are other options out there simply because they have not lived in a reality in which those options were accessible. School choice begins to make those options more accessible. Like so there's a great movie called Cloud Atlas. I fucking love Cloud Atlas. Like I know I need to read the book. I haven't read the book. It's long. The movie is a commitment unto itself. The reason I bring up Cloud Atlas is because there is about a 2-minute section of that movie that I just listened to over and over and over again because there's so many profound quotes in a really condensed period of time, and it makes me feel good. I have it pinned to the top of my Disenraged Twitter account if you want to see the scene I'm talking about. But there is a specific line in that says, "Oh God, I'm gonna flub it. Oh no, we can only cross conventions that we can first conceive of crossing. We can only break boundaries that we can first conceive of breaking." If if people do not know that going to another school is an option, then their brain very literally cannot conceive of breaking that convention, of breaking that boundary, because that's been the way it is their entire life. What school choice does is it allows people to conceive of a reality in which they have other options. They have other choices available. It gets them used to the idea of shopping around. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever lived in a place where you have like very limited shopping options, but I have. I grew up in the middle of Vermont. There was like one mall in Vermont and it had like 12 stores in it. And that was where you went on the weekend. Well, this is like middle central Vermont. Like you went to the mall that had 12 stores that like you could walk from the beginning to the end and see every store in that mall in like minutes. Like, it was tiny, tiny, tiny. We're not even talking like a good strip mall here. Like, so I and even after that, like, I lived in other rural areas where I had like, I had Walmart. I had Walmart and I had Kmart, and Walmart was actually preferable to Kmart. So, when I lived in areas where I had very, very limited shopping options, I could not even fathom the idea of, like, having a Target. Oh my god, a Target would have been great, or having, like, a Costco, or having, like, a whole bunch of boutique stores on, like, a little hipster, like, community where you can go in and see all the really cool stuff that you can't get at the big box stores. I could not even conceive of a reality in which I had more options from which to choose. Now, when I eventually moved to a place that had more options, this was like a whole new world. Like, I went to school in Boston after high school. This was like, holy shit. And I didn't know what to do with it. There was absolutely a transition point from like when I had no options to when I had all of these options that I never had available to me before. Your brain has to get used to the idea of you don't just have to go to like the Walmart, like you can go to like cool trendy places as well. And the same is true with school choice. Because if you've only ever considered this is my town, this is my high school, this is where I have to go, you don't even think about like looking at other things, right? So what school choice does is it gets parents used to the idea of shopping around, of looking at other options. School choice gives them the ability to start to compare and contrast. What do I really want in a school? Like, what do I really care about in a school? Like, my high school didn't have a football team, right? But it was like you couldn't even in for someone who might like football and who wants like a football team, that's going to be considered like they're going to want to go to a high school with a football team. They want to play football. It's their sport. But if you've never had that available, it's kinda like you don't think to put that on your list of, like, here are the must-haves I need in a high school. Here are the nice-to-haves, here are the must-haves. So it gets parents used to the idea of, like, comparing and contrasting schools and figuring out what is really important to them. What do they want their kids to learn? What don't they want their kids to learn? What ideas do they want their kids to be exposed to? What types of activities do they want for their kids? And then they can start comparing and contrasting and really deciding what is the best option for them. I love school choice for that reason. It elicits the necessary cultural change in order to get parents to start looking more critically at the schools and what's going on and evaluating what options they have. So, for that alone, I don't mind school choice. Now, it does bother me a little bit that conservatives, especially, sorry, conservatives, it's just the way it goes, are trying to convince people that school choice is going to fix the entire problem because it's not. It's not. Because the problem does not originate from the schools. The problem originates from the colleges of education. The colleges of education where the teachers are trained. Parents seem to have this idea, and I don't know why they have this idea. I don't know who's lied to them to tell them this. Parents seem to have this idea that schools lay out every single bit of curriculum, hand that curriculum to the teachers and say, you will teach this and only this, and that's all you will teach. And then the teachers go in their classroom and they just like go through the manual and teach whatever the school tells them to teach. That's not how it works, guys. That's not how it works. Once that classroom door closes, those teachers are going to teach whatever the flip they want. And there is no consequence. There is absolutely no consequence for what they teach. Most of the time, parents don't even know what they're teaching. The school doesn't even know what they're teaching. They may even have like an assigned reading list where like they have books that they're supposed to teach and books that have been signed off on. But guess what? Teachers can print shit off the internet and hand out worksheets and do whatever they want. Who even knows? The point I'm making is that if you're talking about actually fixing the problem of schools indoctrinating children, whether that be into critical race theory or like the radical gender stuff or any of that, you have to actually solve for where the problem is coming from. And the problem is not coming from the schools itself. The problem is coming from the colleges of education and the state boards of education that dictate the teacher licensure standards. And then it's going into the schools from there. And so, if the only problem you solve for is the schools and giving people an option of where to go, that doesn't actually solve the origin of where the problem is starting. And I'm going to illustrate to you why this is important. Okay. And again, if you want to follow along, I did pin this article to the top of the chat. It's on my Substack, carlin.substack.com, and it is called, aptly, Why School Choice Will Not Fix the Public Schools. And what I did is I made an infographic. Dun dun dun. I made an infographic, and we are going to walk through this infographic, and I'm going to explain this infographic. But this started for me with Corey DeAngelis. Of course, it started with Corey DeAngelis. And again, I love and adore Corey DeAngelis, and I think he's doing phenomenal work. Just because I don't agree with him on school choice being the end all be all solution doesn't mean I won't support him. And I'm certainly not going to do what so many other activists have done and attack him or throw him under the bus. Corey DeAngelis works incredibly hard. He is so focused. I have learned so much from Corey DeAngelis. Really. Like, not just in terms of like the content that he puts out and the ideas that he talks about, but in terms of just watching his focus and how he like and how he does what he does what I can see in the public anyway. I've learned so much from him. So even though he and I do not agree on whether or not school choice will solve everything, I am 100% like I will always have there are a few people that I will always have the back of in this game if I'm given the opportunity to. Corey DeAngelis is one of those people. We can disagree on some stuff, but that doesn't change that I think that he's doing phenomenal work, and we can work out the rest of the stuff later. If Corey DeAngelis somehow manages to get school choice in every single state in this country, then I will be happy to try to convince Corey DeAngelis that he is wrong about the end-all be-all solution of this problem. But until then, let him do his thing, man. But anyway, Corey DeAngelis, about a month and a half ago, tweeted out this, and this is kind of what started me on this little rant. I'd been ranting about this for a while, but it finally motivated me to make the infographic that we're going to discuss. And basically, this was a tweet with Steven Crowder talking to Carrie Lake, and we'll read what it says. Carrie Lake says, every Arizona parent can decide if they want to move their kid to a different school, and the money follows. And when I get into office, we're going to try to get more money to each student. School choice is actually the fastest way to clean up the curriculum. Wrong. Incorrect. School choice will not clean up the curriculum. I know why people think it will. I know why Carrie Lake thinks it will. I know why Steven Crowder thinks it will. I know why Corey DeAngelis thinks it will. But it will not. And the reason that it will not is because we do not have enough unwoke teachers in the teacher staffing pool. They think it'll clean up the curriculum because they think if we just bring free market principles into the situation and create more competition and give parents the choice, then parents are going to be able to differentiate enough to know the woke schools from the unwoke schools, and inevitably the parents are going to want to enroll their kids in the unwoke schools because the woke schools are effing crazy, and the free markets is going to take care of everything, and then parents are going to be able to then teachers, once they see that parents are only going to enroll their kids in the unwoke schools, then teachers are going to have to clean up their act. That's not going to work like that. because what Corey DeAngelis and all of the other people who are supporting this don't really understand, I don't think, is the fact that A, this is a religious belief for teachers. This is the far left progressive ideology is a religious belief to them. Do you just give up your religious beliefs because a parent is going to remove their child from your class and send them to another school? No. No. If you really believe and are committed to your religious beliefs, then a couple of parents taking their kids out of classes, which, by the way, doesn't impact your paycheck at all in any way, you're still going to get paid the same amount of money. Your pay is not going to be dictated based on how many students actually make it into your class. So, why would teachers have any incentive at all to clean up the curriculum? They don't have any incentive to. But even if they did, there are not enough unwoke teachers to be able to fill the unwoke schools. It's a numbers game. And I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that's actually talking about it from this angle. And it's probably because I'm an organizational psychologist. And so I think about things in terms of like staffing and like human resources. This is a staffing problem. If you have, let's just say, like, okay, so there's a teacher shortage right now, right? Let's just say that schools, and I'm going to make up, these numbers have no basis in reality. I'm going to use numbers that I think make it easiest to describe the situation, okay? So say the state of New Hampshire right now has 100 open teaching positions that need to be filled. There's a teacher shortage, teachers are quitting. We have 100 positions for teachers in New Hampshire that need to be filled. Of those 100 positions, you only get 10 applications from unwoke teachers. The rest of the applications that you get for those 100 positions come from teachers that are completely indoctrinated into the woke ideology. They just graduated from Teachers College at Columbia University, which literally trains socialists, or the Harvard Graduate School of Education, which also literally trains socialists. And 90% of the applications that you get are for teachers that are completely indoctrinated into the woke ideology. It is their religious belief. You've got 100 open positions. You have 10 people who are anti-woke teachers that you can hire very easily. Say you hired 100% of the applications that you got for anti-woke teachers. Okay, you still have 90% of your teaching pool that you need to fill, and you don't have the unwoke teacher applicant pool in order to do it. It doesn't exist. Because the problem is not starting in the K through 12 schools. The problem is starting before the K through 12 schools. It's starting at the colleges of education and the state licensing boards. And so you've got a funnel. You've got a funnel in which all of the wannabe teachers go in the top of the funnel. And they go through the colleges of education. They get indoctrinated into the woke ideology. Then they have to get their teacher license, which requires them in many states, though not all, but many, to go through additional woke indoctrination in order to get their teaching license. And they have to go through this funnel before they ever hit the public schools. They're already gone before they get there. I want to thank Murphy's Pool for the super chat. I apologize I can't display it on the screen. Murphy's Pool says, if teachers were allowed to drink Peroni at lunch, school would be much better. I don't know if that Italian water beer is going to fix anything, Murphy's Pool, but thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. So let me show you. Let's walk through this infographic. Okay. So at the very top, this is what I just talked about. The two institutions, let me see if I can make this even a little bit bigger. That look bigger on your screen? Oh, it does look bigger. Yay. Okay. Here is why school choice will not fix the problem. Because at the top of the funnel, we have the boards of education and the colleges of education. There are two institutions that control how teachers are produced. These institutions, the colleges and the boards of education. And the reason I put the boards, so the colleges obviously train the teachers, but the boards of education are the ones that dictate the state licensure requirements. And so the boards of education are going to be able to dictate things like you must do this anti-racist training in order to become a licensed teacher in, say, the state of Illinois. So they're dictating who can actually become teachers, because almost every school now is requiring not just a, by the way, not just a bachelor's degree, but a master's degree in order to be a teacher, which is messed up in and of itself. But these are the two institutions that are controlling how teachers are made before they ever hit the schools. In order to become a licensed teacher, the state boards of education require that teachers attend an accredited university. An accredited university means they get to dictate the curriculum. In order to be an accredited university, that means you have to comply with whatever the accrediting body tells you to comply with. Now, let me give you an example that's separate from the schools about where this becomes a problem. The American Medical Association, the association that is in charge of medicine, doctors. The American Medical Association is now mandating that as a part of medical education at accredited medical schools, that wannabe doctors in training have to undergo anti-racist coursework. They are also mandating that faculty who teach at medical school are required to speak anti-racist. That's coming from the American Medical Association. And because the American Medical Association says you are you have to train doctors to our standards in order for your students to ever get a job in any hospital ever, the colleges of medicine and the licensing boards have to comply with what the American Medical Association wants. This is how medicine is going to go woke. It's because of the accrediting bodies. The same is true with the American Psychological Association. The same is true with the American Psychiatric Association. These associations dictate how new psychologists and psychiatrists are trained in college. These organizations go woke. That's going to require that colleges and universities also go woke in order to accommodate what these standards are telling them to accommodate. Now, in truth, the colleges and universities already went woke, and that was how it infiltrated the professional organizations. But then it becomes a self-reinforcing prophecy, right? If the professional organization that is in charge of blessing these schools with accreditation, or you have to meet their licensure standards in order to practice in that particular field. If they say you do something, then you have to do it. Otherwise, there's no reason for any student to go to that program because they're going to graduate with a degree that will literally be useless to them. They're not going to be able to get licensed by their professional body. It's another reason why, by the way, we need to do away with professional licensure standards. They're bullshit. I'm sorry. They're absolute bullshit. They're only meant to allow the state to have control over all of this. That's another story. So, these are where the teachers are coming from. These are the people dictating the standards. Now, you have students that are coming out of high school, and again, like we have watched high school students. We might watch high school students tomorrow on my second channel for happy hour. We've watched high school students already showing up as social justice warriors because their teachers from the time they're young have trained them to be social justice warriors. But that is not the fault of the students, okay? It's not their fault. So you have this group of young kids, and we're talking about 18 years old. So that means the logic reason function of their brain is not developed, because the logic reason function of our brain does not develop until we are in our early to mid 20s. So before the logic function of their brain develops, they say, I love school. I want to be a teacher. Great. You go to a college of education to learn how to become a teacher. And they go in as relatively naive, though probably already partially indoctrinated, like education students. And in going through the College of Education, which, by the way, colleges of education are not only mandating that you do like separate anti racism coursework, like you're going to take a whole fucking class in anti racism, they're also going to integrate the woke ideology into every single education course that these students are required to take, and probably their non-education related, like their non-education specific courses as well. If they're taking a liberal arts curriculum at college, like forget about it. They're taking a sociology class, forget about it. It's everywhere in colleges. So you're having these young students who don't have the logic reason part of their brain go to these colleges, and they may be innocent enough when they go in, but by the time they graduate, they're activists. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. Okay? Now, those activists, they're your teaching pool. They're your teaching pool. And we know that well over 90% of educators are donating money to the Democratic Party, or at least at the bare minimum, supporting the Democratic Party. And so, for every one great teacher, for every one great teacher who makes it through college and hasn't been indoctrinated into this ideology that they have been bombarded with every day of their college experience for 4 years and up to 6 or 7 years if they did their master's degree, they've been bombarded with this ideology every single day and they made it out alive. You get one of those for every 9 that don't make it through without getting indoctrinated into this ideology. 90% of the teachers that are coming out of these schools are gone. It's their religion. This is not just a political philosophy. They don't even know it's a political. In fact, it's even worse than that. This is not even something that they are aware of, because remember, the kids that are coming out, and I will call them kids because I'm old. The kids that are coming out of these colleges of education now have been learning this stuff since elementary school. They don't know anything different. Don't know, and they have never been taught anything different. Really think about that for a second. If you only know one way of doing something your entire life, and it has been taught to you in elementary school, it's been taught to you in middle school, it's been taught to you in high school, and then you go to college and you learn it in college, you are not going to think that there is any other way. Those are the teachers that are coming into this teaching pool. Those angry activist girls with the pink hair, those are the ones that schools have to choose to hire from. And that teacher pool, that pool of people who meet the state licensure standards, those are the teachers that are going to be applying for the jobs at the public schools, the private schools, and the charter schools. And no, technically private schools, I don't believe, have to meet, like they don't have to hire teachers based on state licensure because they're private schools. But it doesn't really matter, because that's where the credentialed teachers are going to come from. That's what's going to look best on the resume. The most private schools, and most charter schools for that matter, are not going to hire the guy off the street. They're going to hire the person with the master's degree, because that's what the parents want. Because the parents think that college is about learning and growth and learning to think, when it's not anymore. Maybe it was a long time ago. I don't even know anymore. But it's not anymore. So you have this pool in which 90% of the teachers are completely corrupted, bought into this ideology, probably will never be fixed, and you have 10% who are okay. And that is this teacher staffing pool that's going into every single school. And so, just because you can choose to go from one public school to another public school down the street, or a charter school 3 towns away, or that private school that you were really hoping you'd be able to have enough money to go to, just because you can change schools does not mean that you change the teacher staffing pool, because schools are only hiring the teachers who they get job applications from. And if you're not getting job applications, you can't hire that. If you're not getting job applications from unwoke teachers, you can't hire them. This is just really practical. And so even if even if tomorrow we were able to get every single one of these indoctrinated activists out of public schools, and this is the part that really keeps me up at night, even if we are able to get rid of every single woke teacher in the world, we do not have a teaching pool that is large enough to fill those roles, because all of a sudden you get rid of, so there's 30 there's 30 teachers in this image that I have, right? 27 of them out of the 30 are woke. 3 of them are not woke. 3 teachers cannot replace the workload of 27. It's not possible. So, school choice is not going to fix the problem. It's not going to fix the problem, because this is a generational problem that has been created based on the fact that the woke left took over the colleges of education years ago, decades ago, and then slowly but surely filled all the professor positions in these colleges of education. And then those professors started turning out woke teacher after woke teacher after woke teacher. And as they started turning out woke teachers, eventually the woke teachers they were turning out became professors themselves. We have 2 generations of teachers that need to be replaced minimally. Minimally. 2 generations of teachers that need to be replaced before we even have any hope of solving this problem, and I think that it would be lucky. It would be lucky. So, school choice is nice. I'm not saying anything against school choice in terms of driving culture, in terms of getting people to look at it more critically, in terms of getting parents used to the idea of considering their options. But it will not fix the problem, and people need to start being honest about this. It will not fix the problem. And hoping and wishing upon a star does not change the current makeup of the teacher staffing pool. And by the way, even if you could choose, even if you were given that option, most parents don't know what's being taught in the classroom anyway, because the schools hide it. If you don't know what's being taught in the classroom, not really, how on earth can you evaluate one teacher against the other to even know this is why cameras in classrooms is so important. This is why we must put cameras in classrooms. Because right now, parents have no access at all to really knowing what the teachers are teaching in their classes. They have no access at all. So does this make sense to everyone? Is everyone on board? Is everyone tracking with, although school choice might be great for influencing culture, it is not going to be great right now for fixing the schools and fixing the curriculum. And again, I'm sorry, guys, I can't display your chats on screen because it's not working tonight. But Mandy says homeschooling is the only solution I see. Well, I think homeschooling, I think parents in the communities working together to create educational pods. I do think there's a lot of promise in charter schools. Because, like, I do think that that is an option if you're building up an unconventional charter school, but I think, that comes with some red tape as well. I mean, like, I think it's in a place where, like, all hands need to be like, all options need to be on deck for this one, and people who are this is another reason why I'm really pissed off at people basically attacking Corey DeAngelis for pushing school choice. It's like, you cannot be extremist and absolute in terms of, like, "We will only do this one way, and this is the only way that's going to work," like Deb fucking Philman. You cannot be absolute in this because A, we don't have the time, B, there needs to be, like, as many options as can be thought of in order to get kids out of the fucking public schools. Right now, the greatest priority has got to be getting these kids out of the public schools. If I have to take school choice for a little while to get some kids out of the public schools and get them into that charter school or get them even into that private school or get them into that Catholic school, I am 100% on board because at least it helps those kids. It may not solve the problem, but at least it helps those kids. It's like a triage. It's like when you're in the ER, at least what I remember from watching Grey's Anatomy back in the day. Not now. Grey's Anatomy sucks now. Grey's Anatomy sucks for a while. But Grey's Anatomy used to be good. Admit it. Grey's Anatomy used to be great back in the day. Like the first, like, basically up until George died, like the first, like, maybe 4 seasons, really good. So, and I learned about triage from Grey's Anatomy. You help the ones you can help. You help the ones you have a best chance of saving. It sucks, but we've allowed it to get this way, so it is what it is. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Yes, you guys are agreeing with cameras in classrooms. Vampire King Darkness says, "I'm thinking cameras in classrooms, then school choice could be a strategy for changing culture." I mean, well, that's got to be the goal. The goal ultimately has got to be changing culture. That's what it has to be. And again, it's got to be about turning the parents against the public schools. Trendolin says, "Might need to be a 3-step program till we have non-indoctrinated teachers." Okay. Here's your black pill for the night. We are not going to have non-indoctrinated teachers at any critical mass for the rest of our lives. That's real. This is what happens when you allow a problem to go on and fester for too long before you do anything about it. We will not ever live in a world in which the majority of teachers are not indoctrinated into the woke ideology. Again, are you going to get 90% of teachers to give up their religious beliefs just by doing a training with them? They were indoctrinated into this ideology all throughout K through 12 education. They were indoctrinated into this ideology in college, in graduate school. A couple of trainings and a sit down to say, "We really don't think you should be teaching this stuff," when they can't control what the teachers teach in the classroom once that door shuts unless they have cameras in it. It's not going to change anything. It's certainly not going to get people to give up their religion. I think people really underestimate how ingrained this stuff is in the and by the way, it's not even just the colleges of education. We watch teacher training programs on this channel. It's all the teacher training programs too. Their religion is reinforced to them every single day. That's not going to change overnight. Like I said, 2 generations. Minimum. 2 generations. So we will never be alive, in our current form anyway, There's not a single person here who will be alive to see the day in which we have more unwoke teachers than we have woke teachers, and we all need to start getting used to that idea. This is a generational fight. That's why it is incredibly important that people start taking this seriously, that people stop looking at this as entertainment, because the schools are ground zero for where this is happening, for what is driving our entire culture. They have already captured this generation. This generation, Generation Z, they are never going to know a world in which the majority of them aren't fully indoctrinated into this ideology. And yeah, some might red pill here and there. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, because most of the people that are indoctrinated into this ideology are useful innocents. Not useful idiots. We're not going to call them that anymore because it's impolite. And I know I'm one of the people that's called them that. I'm certainly not the only one. There are millions of people that call them that. But I would really like to start using the term useful innocence, because they didn't do anything wrong. They don't know better. And then we got great people like Cider. I mean, Cider is in high school. He's doing great. Cider is smarter at 15 years old than half the people on Twitter. I'm very proud of Cider. I know Cider. I don't like have any like. I know I don't have anything to do with your intelligence. I'm sure it comes from your parents, but like, we do have exceptional students that can see through all this bullshit. But the majority of them, they're not ever coming out of it. And if you haven't seen the movie Idiocracy lately, we just watched it in Locals the other day. The fact that we are currently literally living in idiocracy doesn't help matters any. So, it's a generational challenge, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. And if people don't start taking this seriously, then I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I feel like I go back and forth between being optimistic and being horribly black-pilled about the state of affairs in which we find ourselves, because there are just so many people who look at this and they're like, "We can watch something cringe on Twitter today or TikTok, and we can complain about the trans." And it's like, and we can rag on Corey DeAngelis because we don't like school choice, and fuck Corey DeAngelis for going after school choice. Let's beat him up on Twitter. Not hypothetically. Fuck. I forget the word. Not literally. Not literally beat him up. But it's just like, if more people don't start taking this seriously, like, there goes the culture, folks. Because it all figuratively, thank you, bot. Metaphorically, thank you, Inca. Yes, that's what I was looking for. Thank you. The schools are ground zero for how this is perpetuating in culture. It started decades ago, and it has only gotten worse. And, I know a lot of people are talking right now about, like, we're basically in World War III, almost. Yay. And that's important, and I'm not saying that that's not important. That is important. However, it's not gonna fix this particular problem, and if this particular problem doesn't get fixed, there is no other problem that really matters. If this particular problem doesn't get fixed, if we do not do what is required to separate government and education entirely, no other problem matters. Because with capturing the K through 12 public schools, This is how they have guaranteed their pipeline of activists for generations. You know, I obviously, like, red pilled when I was almost 40, right? So pretty late, like, I mean, like, God, I don't wanna call myself middle-aged, but, like, later in life. And there is something to be said for the fact that, like, what is the saying that the conservatives like? If you're not a liberal when you're young, you have no heart. If you're not a conservative when you're older, you have no brain. There is something to be said for the fact that there are people within this generation that are going to wake up when they get a little bit older, or maybe their father forced them to read Ayn Rand, or any of these things. I'm not suggesting that there will never be people who wake up again. But again, the majority of people are basically out of idiocracy. Maybe not quite that bad, but getting that bad. And if you have a populace who cannot think and who have only ever been taught one way of looking at the world, and it happens to be a Marxist way of looking at the world, then they are not going to be able to conceive of a reality that is different. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Bot says, "I feel black pill now." Me too, dude. Like this is truly the stuff that keeps me up at night. This is the stuff that I don't know how to fix this problem. And more than not knowing how to and I know how to fix fucking staffing problems. Like the way that I've been able to analyze it and look at the situation is because I know how to assess organizations. I know how to assess staffing problems. I do it without thinking. And usually when it's a smaller when it's a smaller system, when it's a and a smaller system in this case could be an organization that has, like, thousands of people, right? Like, but if it's a smaller system, if it's more controlled, even if you have a severe problem within a smaller system, it is a much more manageable thing to be able to fix than a severe problem when you're talking about 300,000,000 people, and most of those 300,000,000 people are idiots. Mark says, "I'm a teacher and charter schools isn't the answer. It's unsustainable for good teachers." Well, I think Mark, like, then what is the answer? Like, public schools aren't the answer. Private schools aren't the answer. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with you, Mark. I don't think that that charter schools are the end all be all, but they're probably going to have to be part of the solution. You cannot throw like, and this is part of the thing. You cannot throw the baby out with the effing bathwater. Talk Story Tribe says Hillsdale has an ed college. Great. That's one college. There are 4,000. Hillsdale cannot train every single teacher in the country. Try as they might. And this is why. Like, okay, let's just do it. It always comes back to me ragging on conservatives, but like, this is why I am so livid at conservatives, because I didn't know any of this was happening until like 3 years ago. I had no idea because I was raised in Vermont and worked in higher education for 10 years and was firmly planted in this ideology up until all of my friends went effing crazy and my knitting group went crazy. And then I had the moment when I started to figure it out and see it. Mark says, why would I as a teacher be interested in less pay and less security? Mark, I'm going to be really, really blunt. I'm gonna be really blunt with you. I do not give a flying fuck what you think about the pay. Your profession as a teacher is entirely corrupted. And you're like, ew, I'm not gonna go work at a charter school because ew. Go fuck yourself, Mark. Fix your own fucking profession. If you're not going to be a part of the solution, get the fuck out of my chat right now. I do not like teachers that come in and say, well, my entire profession is fucking up the entire world and the entire culture, but I can't be bothered to be part of the solution to the problem or fix my own fucking profession. And that's the other thing too, right? The good teachers don't want to speak up. The good teachers, good. Can you really call them good if they're allowing this to happen? Mark, you're gonna get absolutely nowhere if you raise it up to the administration, but go ahead, give it a try, let us know how it goes, okay? Go ahead, give it a try, they're probably gonna fire you. Then you're gonna go have to work at that charter school you deem to be beneath you. But this is why I get so pissed at conservatives, because the reason we are in this predicament in the first place is because they saw this, saw it coming for a long time, and made the choice to do nothing about it. I I figured this out 3 years ago. And I started dedicating every part of my day to trying to solve this problem, and I don't even have kids. And I'm not suggesting that everyone needs to be as crazy as I am. I'm not suggesting that at all. In fact, you probably shouldn't be. But I am so sick of the excuses and the whining and complaining because conservatives are the ones that have allowed us to get to the place we are today because they allowed the left to take over everything and they did nothing to stop them. And now we're in a place where it is almost insurmountable. It is insurmountable. None of us will see a solution in our lifetime. The very best we can do is to try to rustle enough feathers to turn people back in the other direction. But we're not going to see an end to this in our lifetimes. Every single person who is telling you that we're going to defeat the woke ideology at any minute and they're running and they're scared and we're winning and we're winning, they're fucking lying to you. And they don't understand this problem because they haven't listened. And they're speaking without really understanding or taking the time to think about why this happened in the first place. It happened because they took over the schools. And when they captured the schools, they captured the young generation. And when they captured the young generation, they did it in a time before they could think logically. So they got in their brain when it was really, really malleable. And that makes it almost impossible to fix. This is why you don't treat this like entertainment. This is not entertainment. For every single person I see going 1776, Civil War, national divorce. And then they do nothing. To know and to be able to see the problem and to still allow it to happen right in front of you and to do nothing about it is almost unforgivable to me. Almost unforgivable. That people who claim to care about the American vision, the American values, the American dream, for people who put a flag on their wall and pledge allegiance and sing, take their hat off and sing the national anthem, have a tear rolling down their eyes, to watch everything just completely go to hell right in front of you for decades, some people their entire lives, and to claim they love what this country stands for and then to do absolutely nothing to stop it is almost unforgivable. And even more unforgivable than that are the pundits and the commentators who care more about image, who care more about swanky parties in Washington, D.C., and their finely tailored suit and their beautiful red tie. And only electing or hiring 24-year-old thin blonde girls because really those are the ones that are gonna save us. It's unforgivable. It's unforgivable. So, RT Deland says, "I would love to see you debunk John Oliver's bit about CRT, Carlin." I did that a while ago. There's a video on the channel. So I did it already. I did it actually, I think the day after he aired it. So that's what I wanted to talk about in terms of school choice. I'll bring that back up now. I wish I could display your chats on the screen. It's still not working for some reason, and I don't really understand why, but that's okay because I can still see the chat in another window. So, guys, what questions or thoughts do you have? What questions or thoughts do you have? Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I full of shit? Am I just black pilled and I'm Yeah, RT, if you just search John Oliver on my channel, like search it on the channel, I'm pretty sure it'll come up. Solutions are to Mark says solutions. The solution is to separate government from education. The solution is to completely privatize education. Homeschool, pods, charter schools are gonna like creating your own school, having abilities for communities to create their own schools. That's the only way it's gonna work. Gotta defund the schools. And even then, it's a generational problem. That's not gonna be a quick fix. It's a generational problem. The very best that we can hope for right now is, again, that we start to change culture to turn parents against the schools. That's it. And you know, there are other problems that with the woke ideology, and I'm not trying to diminish those other problems because I mean there are countless problems. Countless problems. And this is why it's so stupid to me that content creators and people who claim to be activists are fucking infighting with each other. Pick a fucking problem and go at it. Pick a fucking problem and go at it. Again, Mark, I truly don't care how you feel about your pay as a teacher when your profession has fucked up an entire generation of people. Don't care. Sorry. Don't care. I do not care. If we fire every accredited teacher right now and just gut average people off the street with no teaching credentials at all, no higher education, no fucking graduate school, no teacher licensure. If we just pull people off the street and put them in a classroom somewhere and said, teach the kids what you know, we would probably be better off than having any accredited teachers ever again. We would probably be better off. Get a bunch of fucking carpenters and plumbers and mechanics to go teach kids how to function in the real goddamn world. Go get people who have built businesses to go teach kids how to build businesses and how to build wealth. So no, I don't give a flying fuck if teachers feel happy about their pay right now, because I would fire every single one of them if I could in a second and put Joe Schmo off the street in their classroom, and we would probably be better off. We would probably be better off. I would take a classroom of kids learning from a high school dropout that runs his own construction company, that knows how to build houses, before I'd ever put them in the classroom with a master's degree credentialed teacher. Because a high school dropout that owns a construction company or has been doing construction for like a long time, they know how to do math, they know how to talk to people, they probably know how to work through complex problems. 26% of kids graduate from high school knowing how to do math at a proficient level. That's according to the nation's report card right now. 26% of kids graduate from math knowing how, or graduate from high school knowing how to do math at a proficient level. You put people like you put high school dropouts that work construction in those classes, they'll teach them how to do math. My chat just came back, I think. Oh no, it didn't. False alarm. So no, I do not think the teacher pay is the problem, and I don't give a fuck how teachers feel about their pay because their profession is fucking up the entire country. I don't know how we can possibly win. I guess let me ask the chat. Let me ask the chat. What do you guys think is going to be required to get people to take this seriously? This is why I want to train 10,000 parents how to find out what the schools are teaching. Because if you train 10,000 parents to be able to look at this stuff and to be able to hold the schools accountable for what they're doing, that's going to, and they're never going to be able to change the schools. By the way, parents are never going to be able to change the schools. This is another realization that people have to come to. Parents are never going to be able to change the schools as the system currently exists. Because again, this is a staffing problem. You are very when you are saying that we just need to fix the schools and school choice will do everything. It's not going to work. Because what you are saying is that you want parents to convert 90% of the teachers and administrators in public schools today to a different religion. This isn't about a book that they're teaching in their class that has pictures of naked people. That's not what this is about. It's not about genderqueer. It's not about grooming. It's not about any of that. What people are literally asking parents to do is to convert an entire population from the religion that they have been worshiping their entire lives. That's what we're talking about. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about your religion or your spiritual beliefs, if you have them, and if you don't, that's fine too. But I know that I have had mobs of thousands of people coming at me demanding that I change my spiritual beliefs to suit their sensibilities. And you know what I did? I said, "Go fuck yourselves." I don't change my spiritual beliefs for anything, and I certainly don't change them to make you feel better. I bring that up because if we are talking about converting an entire population of people from their religious beliefs, which is what the woke ideology is, it is a religious belief. How on earth do people expect parents to do that? I really don't think people have accurately assessed how bad this problem is. You cannot convert people from their strongly held religious beliefs just by sending them through a training or threatening their job because they know they can go get a job somewhere else. You are asking them to give up the beliefs that they hold most dear in the world. So many people have compared the woke ideology to a cult, and they are correct. But they haven't thought through the logical consequence of what that means. It means you are going to really have a hard time pulling this many people out of the cult. You can't just show up and say, you are in a religious cult. You have been in a religious cult your entire life. You were brought into this religious cult when you were in school. Everything in your world reinforced this religious cult. Now that I have explained to you that you are in a religious cult, I want you to leave the religious cult. Are you on board? Do you want to leave the religious cult? If you try to say that to someone or like some derivation of that, you are going to look insane. That person's going to look at you like you have six heads. They're going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm not in a cult. These people do not know that this is their religious belief. This is what is so insidious about this. They do not know that this is their religious belief. We're not always conscious of the things that might seem obvious to someone on the outside looking in. We're just not always conscious of it. Like it's like how we always suck at diagnosing our own problems, but our best friend or our husband or wife or like whatever, your spouse, your partner, they know what your problems are. They know what your hangups are. You don't know it, but they know it because they're looking at you. It's hard. It is harder for someone to take an honest look at themselves than it is for someone else who knows you really well and loves you and cares about you to say, listen, I'm going to tell you what your problem really is. You're in a fucking cult. And like, would you ever leave a cult or your religious belief for someone who you don't even have a strong emotional connection with? Like, if my husband came to me and said, "Carlin, we need to have a talk about your obsession with this woke ideology because I think it's gotten unhealthy." I'm going to listen to him because he's my husband, right? He knows me better than pretty much anyone in the world. But if a total stranger came to me, as happens almost every day on Twitter, and says, have you really thought about, I just think what you believe is kind of stupid and I don't agree with it. And so I don't think you should believe it anymore. Am I going to give that person the time of day? No, I'm going to be like, go fuck yourself and block them. I don't trust that person. I have no reason to listen to that person. I've been deceived by so many people on these fucking platforms from trying to give them the benefit of the doubt of listening to them that I will probably never listen to a stranger again. Well, I shouldn't listen to strangers anyway, but like I will never listen to an internet person again No offense to some of you, but I don't have any emotional connection with them. I have no reason to take what they're saying seriously at all in any way. I have no indication that they want what's best for me. I have no indication that they care about what's best for me. By the way, you should never take advice from people who don't love you and genuinely want the best for you. But I would have no reason to. And we're asking parents to go in and try to change the minds of teachers that have been indoctrinated into this religious ideology. It is not going to effing work. The only thing that is going to work is turning parents against the ideology. That is it. Turning them against the ideology, turning them against the schools. It is all we can do. It is a fool's errand for us to think that anything else is possible, because it is not, because there is an emotional, visceral, deeply ingrained connection that teachers have with this ideology. They do it without even thinking about it. Tom J says wives don't listen to husbands anymore. It's part of the problem. I mean, I listen to my husband. I think wives do listen to their husbands. I definitely listen to my husband. I think we listen to people who we have an emotional connection with and who we have a relationship that we wanna maintain with, and, we don't have a reason to listen to someone if we don't have any emotional connection with them. I'm just scrolling back in the chat a little bit, guys. I wanna see some of your comments. Let me see. Andrew says, "My conservative side wants to reform the system, but alas, no freaking chance there. How do we design a reliable educational off-ramp for their kids?" I mean, I think that the only solution that we have that I think could be game changing is, um, we need some very smart entrepreneurs to invest in technologies and solutions that are going to make homeschooling more accessible to normies. We need to make homeschooling as accessible as possible for average people. And I don't know what the solution is. I have no idea. But I bet you there are people who do or have ideas, and if we can all get them in a room and get these people talking about, like, how can we use entrepreneurship and private business to incentivize homeschooling for the masses, to make it seem easier, to make it seem more accessible. What needs to happen? And the reason I say private business is, again, we need to completely decouple the government from education. So the only way you do that is privatize it. So there has to be an entrepreneurial incentive for businesses to develop homeschooling solutions that are going to help parents educate their kids at home or in pods or in, community groups or what have you. I've tweeted at Elon Musk a couple times, and of course he doesn't see what I tweet, so whatever. But like, I've tweeted at him a couple times saying things like, the most game-changing thing you can do would be to invest billions of dollars in making homeschooling more accessible to the broadest swath of parents that you can. If Elon Musk took the money that he was going to buy Twitter with, and maybe still will buy Twitter with, who knows? But if Elon Musk took that $44 billion and invested it in doing entrepreneurship around making homeschooling more accessible to the broadest number of parents that it could possibly be accessible to, that's the game changer. It has to come from entrepreneurship. That's the game changer. If anyone knows Elon Musk, please get him that message. Tell him to invest billions and billions and billions of dollars in homeschooling. And I bet you a lot of parents would buy into that too, because we've seen that. We saw that with the school choice program, the education freedom accounts in New Hampshire, had, like, I mean, thousands like it had like the adoption rate of the Education Freedoms account in New Hampshire was several times over what they thought it was gonna be. So many more parents wanted those Education Freedom accounts to be able to help their kids. And in Arizona, they're seeing this too. In Arizona, where the money follows the student for all of them, they're seeing record adoption of this. This is something that parents want. There is a business opportunity to be made with investing in entrepreneurship around homeschooling, and some very smart person, hopefully several very smart people, are going to end up making a lot of money on it. Elon Musk, it could be you. Please, please invest in entrepreneurship around homeschooling. Because right now, most parents find homeschooling to be too difficult. They think it's too difficult, but it's a head game. It's not that homeschooling is that difficult. It's not. There are resources for parents who want to homeschool. There are programs they can use. There are activities they can send their kids to. It's not that it's unattainable. It's that parents perceive that it's unattainable. So we have to do something to help more parents see it as a possibility that they can pull their kids out of these schools and homeschool them and probably be a whole lot better off. It's the perception that needs to be solved for, and the perception is only going to be solved for when there become more obvious solutions to homeschooling kids. And I don't know what the answer to that is, but I bet if a bunch of smart people got in a room, they could figure it out. Just looking through the chat, guys. George says, wait for things to run their course, and in about a year, people will see things the way you do. It worked for everything else. I disagree. George, you are vastly overestimating the intelligence of the average person. It's not going to run its course. This is not going to run any course because they've already captured the youngest generation. RT says there are enough parents that will set their kids straight about the propaganda they've been taught. No, that is not correct. That is not correct at all. That is a lie. I don't think you're intending to lie. It's probably a lie that's been told to you. Andrew says, in my opinion, you have to convert the students en masse out of the typical K through 12 with all the extracurricular crap. It is kind of like a religion in public schooling, so it is so entrenched in society. Yeah, that's correct, Andrew. I agree with that. Bot says, I think we're screwed. Most of the country are useful innocents. Bot, I agree with you, and I don't like that I agree with you, but I do agree with you. Sin says, the reason you understand that this is a religious belief is because you have been watching their videos for 2 years now. We need to wake the parents up to this idea. Well, that's exactly it. And you know, I truly believe that my regular viewers, and especially people who are regular viewers of Happy Hour, which is tomorrow on my second channel, youtube.com/activelyunwoke at 5 p.m. I truly believe that people who have been watching Happy Hour regularly for a while with us, we are the smartest people right now about how this ideology is actually being implemented in the real world. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. And that's scary. This is not a pat on my back. Like, I started watching these videos because I wanted to understand this. And if I was going to suffer, I wanted other people to suffer with me. Okay. So I started watching these videos on stream kind of like a gag because it was like basically me doing homework with friends. That's how that started off. But we've been doing Happy Hour now for 2 years. Every single week, almost for 2 years. And we've been watching other videos too in between Happy Hour. I firmly believe that everyone who has been watching Happy Hour with me for the last 2 years We are better educated on what this ideology is and how it's being practically implemented in the real world, especially in the schools, than almost anyone else on the planet. Because who's going to sit through this crap when they don't have to? We do it for fun and we have beer and we make light of it and we mock them and we have a good time and we make clips and we put them on the internet and sometimes those clips go viral and that's kind of cool. But there is no one on the planet outside of our little community that has watched as much of this stuff as we have. Like, really wrap your head around that. That's one of the biggest mind fucks of all. We are literally, and I know some of you are not like, some of you are a little weird, okay? I'm weird too. It's okay. I'm not insulting you. I'm weird too. But like, isn't it kind of a mind fuck to think we know more about this than almost anyone else on the planet? To include the politicians, to include the commentators, to include the pundits, to include many, though not all of the activists, but many of the activists, to include the blue checks, to include the journalists. We know more about this than almost anyone. Purely from a practical perspective. I'm not talking about James Lindsay's academic stuff because he knows more about it from an academic perspective than anyone on the planet. This is a different thing. This is about how does this ideology show up in the real world? What are they teaching these trainings? What are they doing in the curriculum? I promise you, your pundits, your commentators, your politicians, they don't know half of what we know. They get like a fucking one pager that they glance over before the meeting. They don't think about this stuff like we do. They don't watch this stuff like we do. They don't analyze this stuff like we do. Because none of them take this problem seriously. They're just using it for entertainment and they're using it to maintain their status and they're using it to make money. But how much of a mindfuck is that? So, yeah, Sin, I think you're right. The reason that I understand this and the reason that many of us understand this is because we have been watching this ideology for 2 straight years, how it shows up in real people, in the real world. And when you're watching it for that period of time, it is a pattern. It is the same in every single train. This is why I can predict what they're going to say. This is why I can say the goals of the woke left are to gain as much power as possible, to destabilize the system, to attack capitalism, to usher in their little Marxist utopia. Because in every single training, they hit on those elements. Every single one, well, not every single one, the vast majority, 90% plus. They always talk about power. They always talk about systemic change. They almost always mention capitalism by name. And they are almost always talking about revolution, liberation, abolition, and fundamentally Marxist ideologies in almost every single one. They're all the same. So let me see. Going back to the chat. And I'm way up in the chat, guys, because I don't have it on my screen, so I'm having to jerry rig this a little bit. Zacko Crazy says the TV, tablets, and cell phones have to disappear for 1 year as we employ a gigantic army of carrier pigeons to keep people interested in wanting to read our messages. I don't think you're necessarily wrong. Social media has exacerbated all of this. All right, let me scroll down in the chat. Let me catch up in the chat. Let me catch up. Tom J says, I bet Governor Carrie Lake can get Elon Musk attention. Well, it would be great if Carrie Lake could get Elon Musk attention. Sadly, Carrie Lake does not understand the problem. And we know Carrie Lake does not understand the problem because Carrie Lake herself told us a month and a half ago that she does not understand the problem. She thinks school choice is going to fix everything and it's going to be great, and Arizona's leading the way, and she's going to make sure this program stays in Arizona, and yay, we're going to fix the problem. It's not going to fix the problem for the reasons that we've discussed on this stream. I don't think Carrie Lake's a bad woman. I think she's a really smart woman. So smart. Great politician. She does not understand the problem. I do hope she wins. Don't get me wrong. I want her to win. That doesn't mean she understands the problem, though. Those are two different things. All right, let me scroll down the chat. Let me see. Be Vegan Now says, ban mandatory schools, government control over education and curriculum, HSD and graduation, like high school and GED requirements, high school diploma and GED requirements. Public schools directly tax school funding, lets kids learn job skills and work instead. I agree. I agree. Sin, we have suffered watching those trainings, haven't we? We've suffered, but we're better for it, aren't we? We are better. RT says there are more parents out there that will fight against this propaganda. Just yesterday, we did a stream where we investigated the schools in Haverford, Pennsylvania. On that stream, we watched a school board meeting from 2017, 5 years ago, in which the school board was saying that children will be allowed to change their name and their pronouns with the school, and the school has no obligation to tell the parents. That was 5 years ago. Where were the parents? Where were they then? That school board meeting's been on the internet for 5 years. There was no outcry. There was no parents fighting back. I work with parents all the time. Parents don't fight back. They don't do shit. Sorry, not sorry. You don't do shit, parents. You don't. They might go to one school board meeting and complain, and then they never follow up and they never do anything else. This stuff has been going on for decades. Don't tell me that parents are going to pick up and fix everything in a couple of weeks, because it's not going to happen. If it was going to happen, it would have happened a long time ago. This is part of the problem, because no one's taking it seriously. So I guess you can wish upon a star and hope and pray, but thoughts and prayers don't fix everything, folks. They don't. Cold Summer 91, thank you for the super chat. I went to cyber school for 11th and 12th. That's an example of something that could be invested in to expand. It worked great for me and my family. I agree. I think that should be an option. I did my graduate and my doctoral degrees online, and I have no regrets about it. Now, that's not the same as K through 12 school, and I do think K through 12 school is a little different. But I'm going to be honest, I learned more in online education than I did in in-school education. Maybe that's just because I'm a reader. I just like to I read and I'm very independent. And so doing like stuff online for me allowed me to read a lot, and it allowed me to be very independent and craft my coursework the way I wanted to do it. And so maybe that was just me, but I think that there's a lot of opportunity for that. And now people are used to it now. But for K through 12, it's a different thing, because kids don't like sitting on the internet all day. Adults don't like sitting on the internet all day. So I think there's a place for it. And again, I think that all possibilities need to be on deck. By the way, guys, I'm not drinking or anything. Don't want to start any rumors. I'm drinking bubbly. No beer. We're going to have beer tomorrow for happy hour. Tom J, thank you for the super chat. Uh-oh. Some say it takes World War III. Some say you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Why or why not for either? The true believers woke will try or consider. Tom J, I'm not sure I understand the super chat. Let me just read it again. Some say it takes World War III. Some say you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Why or why not? Well, I mean, listen, man, if we got enough people to get on board with throwing the baby of public education out with the bathwater tomorrow, I'd be totally on board with it. I would be completely in favor of what, like I said, I would be completely in favor of firing every single teacher with a teaching degree that came from a college. I would be in favor of firing every single credentialed teacher that is teaching in public schools today, replacing them with random people off the streets. And I think we would get a better I think we would actually get a better result. My chat feature finally came back. Oh, thank God. Finally. Finally, StreamYard. Now I can display it on the screen. So if we could get public support behind firing every single credentialed teacher and replacing them with random people off the street, let's throw it all out with the bathwater, man. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm just following up with the chat, guys. I'm looking in the chat. Tom J, why are you moving to Arizona? Come to New Hampshire. I hope Carrie Lake wins. I do. She's not perfect. She's better than that Democrat, though. I don't mind when okay Republicans win. I just mind when shitty Republicans win. No, Allotrope, I cannot repeat everything. You will have to watch from the beginning, but I'm glad you made it. Good night, Sin. Have a good one. I'm going to be wrapping up too in a minute, guys, I think. I'm just catching up in the chat. Okay, I think I'm almost there. All right. Does anyone else have any questions or thoughts for tonight? People got to start taking this seriously. Can you go on Timcast to explain True Believers? No, I can't because I will never be invited on that show. And even if I was invited on that show, I'm not sure that that's the best of ideas. I don't think it. I don't want to. I don't like Lydia. Lydia's an annoying bitch. I don't think they'd listen to me anyway. And I don't think I'll ever be invited. So it is what it is. God, I really wish Tim would fucking memorize a definition of critical race theory, though. Or just stop fucking talking about it. Memorize a definition or stop talking about it. Because every single time that Tim Pool incorrectly talks about critical race theory, it makes it more difficult to actually teach people about these things. And I understand that he's not supposed to know everything. His knowledge is a mile wide and an inch deep, and I get it. And and this is not a knock on him. I'm not saying that he's not very smart because I think he is very smart. I think he has a brilliant way in which he puts together information and is able to visualize things. But he needs to fucking memorize the definition of it if he's going to talk about it because like with great power comes great fucking responsibility. Jay, I was talking about feminism, but sure, if you want to fire the teachers against instead, that works. Well, feminism is a whole different problem for a whole different day, Tom J. Reagan says I'm more black pilled than I was before. I mean, if you guys want to know why I got like really pissy in 2021, it wasn't just because I was being attacked by white identitarians all the time. It was because I was realizing all of this during 2021 when we were doing happy hour every single week. And I was like, fuck, 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 fuck. Ain't no fixing it. Allotrope says they really need to understand it because it doesn't seem. No, Tim Pool and his band of friends do not understand this. And again, this is not a knock on their intelligence at all. This is not the thing they're focused on. I get it, but they do not understand it. Not, but you know what? Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the really scary thing, Allotrope, and we talked about this earlier. Of the commentators out there, Tim Pool has a better understanding of it than most. Most of the commentators out there, and yes, that includes Matt fucking Walsh. Most of the commentators out there do not understand it at all. They are just looking for something cringe they can show their audience to get clicks. So I legitimately think that Tim Pool understands it better than most of the people that are doing what Tim Pool does. But goddamn, it would just be really nice. It would just be really nice if he understood it a little bit better, man. Just a little bit. It would be really, really nice if he just was a little bit better at explaining it to his audience. It would make things easier. Just a little bit, like 10% fucking better. Oh, you told Lydia she had mommy issues? I can't go where I'm not wanted or I'm not invited. I will never be invited on that show, guys. I will never be invited on that show. It will not happen. And I'm certainly not going to shill for it because I'm not even sure I would go if I was. But like, it's just never going to happen. So like, this is not, I can't just ring him up and say, Tim, can I come on your, like, we're not friends, dude. I've never even spoken to the man. Oh, did Tim learn a good definition? I don't watch his show, so I don't know anything about it. Matt Walsh is a shill. And Matt Walsh has caused so many problems. He is a shill. I've nothing good to say about Matt Walsh. Nothing good to say at all. If you like Matt Walsh, this is probably not the channel for you. I'm going to tell you that right now. Anthony says, hey, KB, hope you're doing well. Thank you for pushing back on a very destructive force. It's got to be rough at times, but you're really taking it on the front lines. It's very hard. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. And I've taken a lot for it. And I've given up a lot for it. So I really do appreciate that, Anthony. Thank you. Daniel, you're 1 second away from getting banned from my chat, just so you know. Steven Crowder doesn't understand it. Sorry. And I think that Steven Crowder has his own level of brilliance. I really do. But there are many things that Steven Crowder does not understand. Oh, Allotrope, I knew I liked you. Yes, Matt Walsh is a Daily Wire zealot. If you guys knew some of the things I know about the Daily Wire, which I'm not going to say on a stream, y- controlled opposition at best. The Daily Wire is only in it to make money and maintain their status, and that is it. They're not going to fix anything. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. Tim says he invites leftists, but they won't come on. I don't believe that that's true. I don't believe it's true. I know plenty of leftists that would go on Tim's show if they were invited. Let's see. Tom J, thank you for the super chat. Recall you, James Lindsay, Matt Walsh, Carrie, etc. all went on trigonometry. Trigonometry went on Tim Pool. We all kind of know each other. I'm not saying I don't know people who know Tim Pool. I'm saying I don't know Tim Pool. Tim Pool, when we have been in the same place, was rude. And I don't think he would ever invite me on because A, he called me an SJW on Twitter a while back. B, Carrie has probably lied to him to high heaven about me. Because Carrie has lied to everyone to high heaven about me. So they all believe things that aren't true. And C, I don't think that Tim Pool would ever invite someone like me on his show because I am a woman who is not going to take any of his shit. Tim Pool doesn't like strong women. I don't think. And you know what? Listen, like, whatever, more power to him. Like, I don't really care either way, but I don't think that I think that he would not be inclined to have a conversation with me about this because he knows I'm going to tell him he's wrong and he knows that I'm not going to, well, he should know. He probably doesn't care, but like, I wouldn't put up with his bullshit. I wouldn't kiss his ass. And if he's wrong, I'm going to tell him he's wrong and I'm going to explain why he's wrong. Oh, yeah, and I wouldn't go within 500 fucking miles of Cassandra Fairbanks if I could help it. That bitch can suck a dick. And she has. Many. But we're just talking here. We're just talking. Not like I'm live on the internet or anything. This is why late night streams are great because I say something. I say things on late night streams that I would probably not say at 5 o'clock because I'm like, oh, it's midnight. Who's really watching? That's why I want you on his show so badly. You would put him on the back foot and open his followers' eyes. He would never allow that to happen. He wouldn't allow it to happen. I don't know, man. If you want me on his show, tell them. Like, there was King Peter of the chat. We love King Peter of the chat. King Peter of the chat sent Tim Pool a $500 super chat asking Tim to have me on his show. And they fucking ignored it. So, give it a try. Ask them. I'm not going to. But you guys can if you want. Is my favorite color red? No, my favorite color is purple. Red's pretty cool, though. He is such a dick. Oh, God. I don't understand the appeal of that guy. I don't understand the appeal of, like, half the people who've been on that show, like, between you and I, and anyone who might be watching. I do not understand the appeal of half the people that have been on that show, really don't. This guy, in particular, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. John Morgan, I'm not going to display your chat on the screen, but you're probably not wrong. Listen, again, like, King Peter of the chat sent in $500, and I didn't ask him to do that, by the way. I had no idea he was gonna do that. I had no idea. I found out the next day where people was like, "Oh, Carlin, there's a $500 super chat about you." I was like, and I felt so bad because, like, I feel like I had said, like, it's not going to happen. And I've just always tried to be very honest about this. I don't think it ever will, and I'm fine. I am fine. I am fine not being on that show. I'm fine. I don't think, like, here's the thing. So you can do this if you want, and I'm not gonna tell you guys what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do, okay? But I don't think it's going to be effective. And I want Oh, King Peter is here! Welcome, King Peter of the chat. We were just talking about you. Yeah, so I don't Peter, we're talking about how people wanna super chat into Tim Pool to get me on that show when I don't even know if I wanna go on that show, and I don't think I'd ever be invited anyway. So what I'm saying is that you can if you want, but I'm not gonna tell you to do it, and I strongly doubt they're going to be acknowledged. Because if he's not going to acknowledge a $500 super chat, which I'm sorry, like, how fucking rude. How fucking rude. I made Peter king of the chat after he chatted me in like $100 or something like that. Like, I made Peter perpetual king of the chat. How rude, though. So I just don't want anyone wasting money. If you're gonna super chat in, super chat here. That's all I'm saying. And here's the thing too, and this is no shade at anyone who watches that show. I don't watch anything on YouTube. Well, I watch like royal things on YouTube. I have some people I like that have nothing to do with the news or any of this woke bullshit. But I don't watch any creators that are doing news. I don't watch any of them. So this is no shade on Tim Pool or Tim Pool's audience. This is just what I have to do to maintain my mental health. But I don't think it would work out well for me if I went on that show. I think I would be attacked relentlessly because of my weight or because they don't like my haircut or they don't like something or other. I think that I would be attacked relentlessly. And so there is the question too of, even if you guys did whatever you did and they invited me, there is actually a question of, like, do I even want that? Because I'm not sure listen, man, like, I did a whole bunch of these shows. I've been in front of these types of audiences, and there were many fun and interesting things about that experience, and that experience is not something that I ever thought I would do in my life. It never thought I would do it. There was also a lot of negative that came from that experience. There was a lot of negative. There was a lot. And it's not easy to wake up and to see memes of yourself all over the internet when you were just a private person one day, just like minding your own fucking business. And then all of a sudden you see memes of yourself all over the internet with your face photoshopped on a cow and a pig. You see blue check influencers like Cassandra fucking Fairbanks sharing them, and yes, she did. You get emails all the time saying, "You would be really hot if you just lost 50 pounds. Why are you so fat?" I don't have an assistant to wade through those emails for me. I had to look at all of them. You have people posting shit everywhere. Like, it's not fun. It's not fun. And I still do this YouTube stuff because, like, I work to build up these platforms, man, and I wanna use them to make a difference, and, I wanna use them to help people, and, I've definitely taken my content in, like, a very niche direction, and that's all been intentional. I want a more niche audience. I don't want this I don't like this content creator culture. I really dislike it. I don't think I belong in it. But I have these platforms, and so I should use them for what I can, which is to reach the people that I can reach and the people that wanna be receptive to what I'm doing, but, like, there's a reason I don't show myself out for these shows anymore. I mean, I never really did show myself out, like, any show that I was on, I was like, they asked me to be on it, which is fine. Like, I've never been someone that, like, I don't do PR. I'm not, like, sliding into people's DMs, be like, "Can I come on your show?" I don't do that shit. I don't like it. And so, like, I'm very, like, cautious about the shows that I like, the podcasts or the interviews that I do or the people that I talk to, because I do not like the ramifications of going on some of these bigger channels. I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good. I don't think I accomplish anything with it, and it just leads to me getting attacked for my weight and my looks and all those things. And although, like, I don't care from, like, a practical perspective, it's just it sucks. It's just one of those things where I'm like, "The world is going to hell in a handbasket, we can't fix this problem in our lifetimes, and you guys are worried about photoshopping my face on a fucking pig, well, you get some fucking priorities." I feel like I'm talking to crazy people when I'm in that culture, and I am talking to crazy people, that's the thing, and it's like, nothing is accomplished there, and so the reasons that I would be I guess this is a very, very long-winded way of saying, like, the reasons I would even be like, if if all of you figured out some way to achieve what I think is the impossible, to get him to invite me on that show, there are many, 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 many reasons why I would have pause about even going on it in the first place that have nothing to do with him really. But I do not like many of the audience that he caters to. I don't like them. I was watching I was watching the episode, that Dave Smith was on recently just because I was at, like, a Mises event. I was at, like, a Mises Caucus event. I was at, like, an LPNH event in New Hampshire, and we were just watching it, and we were listening to it at the clubhouse we were in. So I was watching it, I was watching the chat, and I was like, "This chat is gross." It's gross. I just I don't feel like I have connection to it, you know? So, anyway. Let me catch up with the chat. I haven't really been paying attention because I've been almost crying on the internet, though not quite crying. Yeah, I could not believe he ignored it. Like that again, like that was just so rude. And I felt so bad. I felt so bad for Peter. It was such a nice super chat, and I really appreciated that, King Peter. That's when King Peter became the perpetual king of the chat. Let me see. Oh god, Joe Rogan. I mean, I think that would be a well, I mean, but like the same concerns I have with Tim Pool, I would also have with Joe Rogan, by the way. It's an audience thing. I would probably be more inclined for Joe Rogan simply because I think it would be a fascinating conversation. It'd make my husband really happy too, if I'm honest about it. But I think it would be like a really, really, really fascinating conversation. So for that, and to make my husband happy, I would be more inclined to that. I wouldn't go on info. I would not go on. No, I would. That's a hard no. Alex Jones, Infowars, hard, 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 no. No, 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 no. Now, don't get me wrong. I appreciate Alex Jones from like an amusement perspective. Like he's kind of like Trump to me. He's bombastic. It's larger than life. I, you have to respect Alex Jones's perseverance. You do. But I'm not no. That would be a hard that alt-right culture is not for me. Not no. No, 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 no. No, no, no. No, no, no. It's actually pretty easy to be in my political party, Daniel. You just have to, like, not hurt people and not take their stuff and leave people alone and let them live their lives and don't force your values onto other people. That's it. That's all that's required. I definitely do not wanna be president. I don't even wanna be governor. Somehow got myself in that fucking position. Let me see. I'm scrolling through the chat. I don't mind Ian. I don't mind him. I haven't watched him that much. So he may suck a lot and I don't know because I don't watch him that much. But like what I've seen, I don't mind him. I like that he's creative. I like that he looks at things outside the box. I like Minds a lot. Adam Krigler can go fuck himself. So sad. Again, he's another one of those people that's just like, I really enjoyed Adam. I appreciated Adam. And I think that Adam got sucked into this internet content bro bullshit. He changed. He changed. Adam changed from from when I met him to when that split happened. And I just think it's sad. Yeah, I think he sold out for money. It's so god damn it. Do you guys know? I was supposed to go to bed like half hour ago, whatever. We're just chatting. It's after it's almost midnight. We're gonna be able to update the scoreboard. Do you guys want to update the scoreboard for the Twitter game live? Mike Harlow, last time I checked, still hadn't talked about me today. Mike Harlow might be 2 points up. If you don't know what the Twitter game is, we have 7 more minutes. 7 more minutes. Let me just check. I need to check and see if Mike Harlow is tweeted. So the game, the Twitter game, is a game in which, hang on. Let me just check. Hmm. I don't think he's talked about me. Holy shit. Okay. So the Twitter game, let me pull it up. Let me pull it up. I'll show you guys the game. And then I will continue to go through the chat. We can talk. Oh yeah, Carrie was losing her shit. Well, no, Carrie started losing her shit last night. So the Twitter game is a game that, well, let me share screen. So I am sick and tired of the 2 years of nonsense that I have had to endure at the hands of the good Christian town crier, otherwise known as Carrie Smith, fame whore Baron Munchausen, otherwise known as Mike Harlow, stepmom, otherwise known as Deb Philman, and the Queen from England, who has no name because he doesn't deserve one. I am sick of having to deal with the bullshit. I'm sick of it. They talk about me all the time. They used to say things like so they would say things like, if Carlin would just stop talking about us, we'll stop talking about her. Carlin is really the one causing this. If she just stops, we'll stop. Well, a funny thing happened. I got banned on Twitter for a month. So I literally could not talk about that. I was fucking permanently banned on Twitter for a month. So you would have thought in that month they would have fucking stopped talking about me. But they didn't. Every single day, they continued to talk about me. And so when I came back on Twitter, I decided to start a little game. And for every single, I am keeping track. And every time the good Christian, the fame whore, stepmom, or the queen go one day without talking about me, they get a point. Okay? If they then talk about me, they lose their point and they go back to 0. And the goal of this game is that I would like one of them to hit 30 days. The winner, this is where it's at in my head. I may expand it to 60 days. I might, but I don't even think we're going to get to 30. I would really like to incentivize the 4 of them to go 1 month without talking about me. Because it takes 30 days to build a habit. I want to give them as much incentive as possible to stop talking about me, to focus on their own lives, to move on, to do other things. I don't really care what they do. This is very much a like, I don't care where you go, but you can't stay here. So I would really like for one of them, at least one of them, ideally all of them, to hit the 30-day mark, going 30 days without talking about me at all. And so I'm keeping a daily scoreboard. And so for every day they go without talking about me, they get a point. The first one to 30 wins. Every single time they talk about me at all, to include interacting with that account that's stalking me, they reset to 0. And so today was day 4 of the game. And Carrie had a fit about me on Twitter last night, so she lost. Deb and the Queen were both having fits about me as well. They were having a fit about me today, so they're at 0. They're all going to reset to 0. But the fame whore Baron Mike Harlow went all day yesterday without mentioning me, so he got a point. And in 2 minutes, if he hasn't mentioned me in 2 minutes, he's going to get a second point. So that's going to put him at 2-0 for everyone else. So he's going to have a 2-point lead. And that will be the record because Carrie also went 2 days without talking about me until she had a hissy fit temper tantrum last night. And so Carrie reset to 0. So this is the scoreboard. This is the game. We get to update it in 2 minutes and release the new score. She did blow it, Phil. I was like, Carrie went 2 days without talking about me. And I was like, Carrie's going to win. Carrie's going to win. This is going to be awesome. I was so excited. And then Carrie threw a fucking temper tantrum about me in the game because Carrie doesn't like the game. Carrie's like, Carlin is a narcissist, and that is why she has this game board, and she's keeping track of everything we say because she's a narcissist and she just wants attention. And I'm like, Carrie, it's exactly the opposite of that. I'm literally trying to incentivize you not to talk about me. Carrie, you can win the game by not talking about me. That's all I want. That's it. I just want you to not talk about me. It's the very opposite of attention seeking. I'm like, leave me alone. So, oh, it's midnight. Okay, okay, let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Did Mike Harlow talk about me? This is going to be like a momentous occasion if Mike Harlow gets an additional point. Guys, we did it. He did. Congratulations, Mikey. Let me just update the scoreboard. And now Mikey and Carrie are going to be tied for the record setting moment. Let me do this real quick. You know, we're doing it live, and then I'm going to go back and read the chat. So it's day 5, September 30th. And we have 2 points for Mikey, the fame whore. I'm updating it on a different screen. So the good Christian and the fame whore are tied for the record right now, each achieving 2 days. So that's good. Yay for them. Okay. Now, if Mikey goes an entire additional 24 hours without talking about me, that's going to mean he's going to have like a point lead. He's going to be at 3. So he will take over. He will take over the record-breaking status. Okay, let me say fuck. All right. And every time I post this on Twitter, I do new commentary on it. So we got to do sports commentary. So let me see. I'm crafting the tweet. Oh, goodness. I've lost my chat. Where did my chat go? Where did it go? I don't know. I'll have to figure it out later. Okay, hang on. I'm crafting a tweet. New board up. The fame whore. Actually, I'll show you guys the window. So this can be a participatory process. There we go. Oh, hang on one sec. There's the screen I'm looking for with the chat. Now I can see the chat. Okay. So, the fame whore takes the lead with 2 points. Let's see. What else should I say? Sadly, due to temper tantrums, the good Christian, stepmom, and the queen all reset to 0 for another day. Oh, and the crowd goes wild. Thank you, Phil. And the crowd goes wild. We all wish them the best of luck with getting back on the board tomorrow. Let's see. Do I have enough space? No, I can't put Queen from England box. I don't have enough characters. So the Queen is going to have to do. There we go. You guys saw that in real time. The ceremonial updating of the game. This is basically the best game that has ever been invented in the history of games. I may at some point start a betting pool about who will get to 30 days first. It is the best fucking game. It is. All right. Let me continue going through the chat. Thank you guys for that distraction. We'll see if any of them, oh, I did have odds. I did have odds from the okay, let me go back. Okay, so I do have betting odds. I put them up last night. And like, I'm serious about these betting odds. This is how and let me talk you through the betting odds. I have to find the one from last night. Okay, here it is. Let's see. Okay, so here are my betting odds for the game. Let me just Oh shit. I have to hang on. What I have to do is I have to go and make it so only people who follow me can reply to it. Otherwise, they're going to send their trolls at it and I only want people I like replying to the game. The game is like a special privilege. Okay, so I've updated that. Here are my betting odds for the game. Now, I really as much as I think Carrie is a psycho. Well, Carrie, like, here's the thing about Carrie. She's actually normal for everyone else. Well, maybe not everyone. She's normal for many other people. She's just psychotic when it comes to me. Carrie, in her head, has convinced herself that I am her abusive mother. And so every time Carrie lashes out at me, in her head, she thinks she's lashing out at her mother. Carrie has not processed that I'm not actually her mother. I'm not making this up. That's true. But that being said, I do think Carrie is the odds-on favorite to win because Carrie usually sends other people to do her dirty work for her. So it would not be uncommon for Carrie to like instigate someone else talking about me so that she herself doesn't have to do it. So I do think that Carrie is the odds-on favorite to win. I gave her 6 to 5 odds, which is pretty good. I think Mike Harlow, I put in second place simply because his loyalty is only and exclusively to whatever he needs to say and do to be famous. So if Mike Harlow had someone say to him, if you don't cut this shit out, you're not going to be representing us anymore. I do think that Mike Harlow would shut the fuck up. So, because I do think that he is smart enough on some level to place his career and his fame as a higher priority than obsessing over me. I just think right now he's using obsessing over me because he thinks it's advancing his career, which is a whole other problem in and of itself regarding the type of community that he is involved with and why I want nothing to do with conservative activism ever, 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 ever again. Now, stepmom Deb Philman, I feel like has impulse control. And she's really hung up about me because she's an Aries too. I'm a more powerful Aries than Deb. Deb is like Aries and like Pisces, something, whatever. I'm fucking Aries, Leo, and I have Pluto in my first house. I am a powerful bitch. But Deb thinks she's more powerful than me. And she tries to prove she's more powerful than me like all the time. And so she, because of her Aries, she has impulse control or like lacks impulse control rather. And I understand that because I sometimes lack impulse control as well. So I get it. But I think like Deb is really got a hang up about me. And I just don't think that Deb can resist making a comment. If Deb has something to say, she's going to interact with that stalker account every fucking day of the week. And so I don't think her odds are good, but I think they are slightly better. Just slightly better than the Queen's because I think that the Queen is quite frankly being manipulated by all of them. And I think he has been for a while. And that's actually very sad to me. However, I get over my sadness right quickly when he has spread lies about me around the internet, doxed my friends, done all sorts of nonsense. Like, I get over my sadness of making fun of the fact that I do think he's actually being manipulated by people because he has done horrible, horrible things. Really, really bad. And I think that his priority is on destroying me. I think the Queen's number one priority in life is destroying me because he thinks he's proving something about how he feels about me. by destroying me, even though all it really proves is just how many lies he's told on the internet about me. But he's trying to make a point about destroying me. Destroying me is his number one priority, which is why I think he will absolutely lose. I think he will be at the bottom of the game every single day. I don't think he can stop talking about me. I really think he's incapable. So maybe this is maybe I based my odds on like impulse control. I think that Carrie has moments where she has bad impulse control, but I also think that Carrie lets other people do her dirty work, which is why I think ultimately she'll probably get to 30 before anyone else. Um, I think Mike Harlow has impulse control when it comes to him being famous because he's always going to prioritize that. Deb, I think, has slightly better impulse control than the Queen, but not significantly. And so that's why I ranked the odds the way I did. Let me see. See, now we're on to total. We started this stream was a serious stream for like the first hour and a half. This was a for people who just joined, this was a really good, very professional, super serious stream for like the first hour and a half of the stream. We did a lot of good work tonight. We ate our vegetables. And now we're having our dessert, okay? Now we're talking about drama and bullshit. Yeah, I blackpilled everyone in the first hour and a half of the stream, and so now we're having fun. Because if we don't laugh, we will cry. All right, let me scroll through the chat. I've missed so much in the chat. We'll just keep the odds. Actually, let me get that off the screen. We don't need the game on the screen anymore. Oh, the hordes all every single one of them is going to lose. Every single one of them is going to lose today. I'm telling you right now. Because I talked about them on this stream, they're all gonna be on Twitter. They're all gonna be like, Carlin made a whole video about us. Carrie on Twitter last night said, Carlin has made 40 videos about me. No, I haven't. That is not true at all. I have not in any way made 40 videos about her. But Carrie counts every single time I mention her ever as making an entire video about her. I may make a clip of this though. I'm probably gonna make a clip of this. That's probably gonna happen. Just for funsies. Tomorrow's Friday. It's Funsies Friday. All right, let me see. Let me see. I'm so far back in the chat right now. Oh, thank you, King Peter. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Adam did definitely change. There's something about I understand why people get sucked into this space. I get it. Now and again, I've said it a million times. Thank God I didn't come to YouTube when I was younger. I would have completely gotten sucked into this space if I came to YouTube when I was younger. Luckily, I came to YouTube when I was 40. I came to YouTube after I had lived a good amount of life, built a couple businesses, been in the real world, did real things, hung out with normal people, never read comic books, never obsessed with culture shit. No offense to anyone who reads comic books, nothing wrong with that. But like, I came in a very different place than most content creators on YouTube. And I don't care about being famous at all. And I'm not impressed by famous people. And I never realized how different I was from like other people until I got into this space and like everyone's just so impressed with everyone. Everyone's like falling over everyone and everyone just wants to be famous. I'm like, I never wanted to be famous. Never wanted it. Never did. Never did. And I'm not impressed with people who are. You know what I'm going to do tonight? Just for fun. Phil and Bot are getting promoted to moderator. I have blessed Phil and Bot with the wrench because Phil and Bot were awarded the Order of Merit in my cult. So That's the cred. Phil and Bot now blessed with the wrench. Congratulations. Thank you too for your service and for your gift game last night. That was hilarious. Phil and Bot were fucking hilarious on Twitter last night. Fucking hilarious. That's how you get your wrench in this. That's how you get the wrench in this chat. That's how you get the wrench. You amuse the hell out of your cult leader, and you get the wrench as a result. Use it wisely, please. Well, Robert Barnes blocked me on Twitter after I told him that Twitter told me I reported him for something I didn't report him for. Here's what happened. I got a fucking email one day from Twitter saying, "You reported Robert Barnes for hate speech, and we found that he violated our hate speech policy." And I was like, what the fuck? I've never reported Robert Barnes for anything, much less hate speech. But Twitter sent me a fucking notification that I had. And then I posted that on Twitter and I tagged Barnes in it. I was like, "Barnes, just so you know, Twitter just told me that I reported you for something that I never fucking reported you for." And then he fucking blocked me. I was like, some thanks, bro. Some thanks. So I don't think that's ever going to happen. I used to like Viva. Viva has kind of become conservative shill for me. Now, that's not like, I think Viva is very smart. I think Barnes is very smart too. And I've really enjoyed their analysis on occasion. But it's like you try to do a good deed. You try to do a good deed for someone. And it just like you end up getting blocked on Twitter for it. Yeah, it's not that delay. I'm going back through the chats because I wasn't paying attention to the chat. Yeah, the problem with the Horde is that they bonded around hating me. We bonded around something of purpose. They won't stop because you're the glue that holds that group together. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Now, what I expected to happen on Twitter when I got banned, what I expected to happen was they were going to detox from me and turn on each other. But that never happened. They just kept talking about me. Like every day. Like how sad. I just want them to stop. That's all I want. That's all I want. My cult has a purpose. We have a mission. We are going to discredit and turn the public against the public schools. And that's it. Let's see. Bot asked Carrie to go 30 days so she could bet on her, and Carrie blocked her. Oh, man. Carrie has such a bend about me. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yep, Reagan, I agree. Like I said, like I think that Carrie is going to say the least because she lets other people do her dirty work for her. And I think Carrie will eventually win the game. But like here's the real question. How fucking long is it gonna take for one of them to go 30 days without talking about me? This is why, like some people say it takes 30 days to build a habit. It takes 30 days to break a habit or to build the new habit, I guess. In reality, it takes closer to like 60 to 90 because people fuck up, right? So it's like when you go back to the gym after New Year's and you're like, I'm going to lose weight for my New Year's resolution. And you go to the gym for like every day for like 2 weeks. And then you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then you stop going to the gym. You fuck up and you go back to square one, or like, maybe you don't go all the way back. Like you can't like go like back to start, but you backtrack, right? And then you have to start building up the habit again. I think it's kind of exactly the same with this game. I think maybe one of them can go like maybe a week without talking about me. But eventually it's just like the habit's going to kick back in. So I don't know, how long is it going to take for someone to get to 30 days without talking about me? I really don't know. It could be years. It could be decades. I don't know. That's not correct, Nick. Mike Harlow talked about me 2 days ago. That's not correct. Because it's not just mentioning my name. The game is not just about mentioning my name. I don't want him talking about me at all. Not at all. I don't want him alluding to me. I don't want him talking to that fucking stalker account. That counts as talking about me because it's a stalking account about me. So that's not true. He did. He mentioned it 2 days ago. Oh, yeah. Mikey's probably going to fuck up tomorrow. Yeah, probably is. Let's see. Just scrolling through the chat, guys. I'm glad you guys appreciate the game. I am very amused by the game. It's so simple. It's so simple. All right. I think I'm going to wrap up in a minute. So, I don't have any Das Hydra. I got to go to the beer store tomorrow. I got to go to the beer store before happy hour. Guys, if you have any last minute questions that you would like me to answer of any sort, now is going to be the time. You know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do just to make sure I actually wrap up this stream? I'm going to want to go to sleep now. No, that's not a fun kind of gummy. That is a going to sleep kind of gummy. It's called Fast Asleep. It definitely doesn't have anything illicit in it. It's actually, you know what it actually has in it though? It has a metric F ton of CBD oil and it has melatonin. So I'm going to be meditating good in about 15 minutes when we end this stream. Well, it's got melatonin in it. I had one of these for the first time the other night and it was like, I slept so well. Slept so well. I gave one to Victor earlier too. I'm curious to see if Victor is actually still awake. Well, okay, so Incognito says, "Can I manipulate the game?" So here's what I've been thinking. I wonder, maybe the four of them start actually playing along with the game, and what's gonna happen is, like, say Mike Harlow, like, is close to winning the game, and the rest of them are kinda, like, playing along with it. Will they try to instigate him? Will they try to instigate Mike Harlow to sabotage himself? Will they be like, "Carlin is such a bitch. Why don't you tweet about what a bitch Carlin is?" To get him to sabotage so he goes back to 0? I think it would be really, really funny if the four of them actually started playing the game and tried to sabotage the other ones to get the other ones to talk about me so they had to reset their score to 0. It's going to be fascinating insight into human nature. If nothing else, it will be fascinating insight into human nature. They're probably talking about me. Like, Carly's doing a whole stream. Joshua's not on the stream right now, is he? Joshua's not the boss of me. I, in fact, am the boss of Joshua. Allotrope, I don't want to pressure you into hostile interviews. I just remember you debating Lauren Witzke and thinking Lydia, Tim, and Seamus could use some of that. They could, but again, it's like, I I don't think Tim likes strong women. I don't. Could be wrong. Don't know him. Never talked to him. No idea. I don't know what you're talking about. That was just but a simple gummy. Don't know what you're talking about. Do those work well? Yes. This is the God's honest truth. This is not actually about, like, it's not kicking in. Oh, you're talking about something else, Phil. Okay. Um, no, but like, yeah, so, like, I actually really, really do appreciate how it impacts my sleep, and it does help me to sleep a lot better. And that's for real. This is not about, like, "Woo, like, happy fun time." I actually do need to go to bed at some point. Oh, no, that too. Thank you, Phil. Will one of them think the other is playing to win? I don't know. Again, I think the game is gonna be fascinating. The scoreboard experiment. We're basically doing a psychological experiment right now on Twitter. Exactly. I never thought about it that way. None of his female guests are assertive or disagreeable. The men are, but not the women. Content creators do not, as a general rule, like strong women. And I'm not one to play the gender card. I'm really not. I'm really, really not. I very rarely play it for anything. But this is just something that I've just watch what they do. This is not even like about me. Just like watch the type of women that they invite on their show and how they interact with them. It's fascinating. Incognito says, honestly, after all the crap they put you through, definitely going to mess with them until they learn their lesson. I mean, go to town, man. Go to town, have fun. They've been awful. They've been awful for 2 years. 2 fucking years this shit has been going on with Carrie. 2 years. Carrie tweeted last night. She tweeted at Phil actually. Phil responded to Carrie before she blocked him. And Phil was like, "Carrie, better luck tomorrow. I know you can do it." He was like actually really encouraging. And Carrie responded to him and she was like, how can you possibly justify aiding someone that's been attacking me every day for 3 years? And what's funny about that is I haven't known Carrie for 3 years. I have not known Carrie for 3 years. So there is no possible way in any reality that I could have been attacking her every day for 3 years. That's not real. But in Carrie's mind, it is. Like, if she had just done fucking math. My Trump rally article went viral in February of 2020. That is 2.5 years ago. Carrie did not start this bullshit with me until November of 2020. That's not even 2 years ago. I have not known Carrie for 3 years. But in Carrie's mind, I've been attacking her every day for 3 years. Okay, sure, fine, whatever, fine, fine. Whatever you need to make yourself feel better, Carrie. We're gonna wrap up in a second, guys. Yo, for real. For fucking real, Vampire King Darkness. All right, looks like everyone's tapping out, so I'm going to tap out too. Guys, we will be live on my second channel tomorrow, youtube.com/actively unwoke. We'll be live for happy hour at 5 p.m. We're going to watch one of those trainings that I talked about earlier. I think we're going to watch the one with the students because, I like the ones with the students. But guys, thank you for hanging out with me and spending some time. And I appreciate the nice comments and the support. And, mount that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, guys. Have a good rest of your night. Bye.